Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Dugout podcast. This is episode 103, and unfortunately, our final episode where we're talking about Scotland in the World Cup. An absolute disaster of a tournament for us. Obviously, we previewed the Brazil game and had quite high expectations based on the face of it, who we were going up against. So we're going to get through all of that, unfortunately, and then get on to some more fun stuff relating to the rest of the tournament and Scottish football. And of course, the biggest news in Scottish football at the minute, the vacancy which is opened of the Scotland manager job of Steve Clarke resigning following the confirmation of Scotland being eliminated from the tournament. I am, of course, joined by my usual co-host, Alex. How are you, Alex? And how are you doing post Scotland
I'm
being out
over
of the
it.
tournament?
I'm over it now. I didn't see, to be fair, after the game, I didn't really pay attention to the World Cup until last night. Uh, I didn't even really watch the game last night either. I was in mourning over Scotland going out, and yeah, it was pretty shambolic. Um, just a cascade of individual errors, along with just not enough quality. Genuinely, like, can I string three passes together is so poor considering some of the quality of player that we have. Um, and I think as well, it, what really shown in this tournament and is perhaps part of the downfall of Steve Clarke is his his favourites let him down. Grant Hanley in particular. And then we're all crying out for Scott McKenna, and then he goes and does that against Brazil. So yeah, and I think I've got a pretty who I want as as the next Scotland manager. I think a lot of people want, um, and I've got a pretty good idea of what changes I would want to see being made, and in terms of personnel and style of play, because it was so poor. I mean, you look at teams like blooming Cape Verde, who progressed as second in their group in the end. Um, they're the smallest nation ever, I think, to make it to the knockouts of the World Cup. Um, and yeah, Scotland just shambolic. I mean, their goalkeeper Virginia, who's achieved massive world fame, is 40 years old and plays in the Portuguese second division. We've got a guy that, obviously it's different positions getting compared, but we've got a guy who finished 18th in the Ballon d'Or rankings. We've got a guy who just won the Europa League. Got a guy that just won the League and Cup double with Celtic and was very, very good. Um, and yeah, just if you line up the quality of our squad compared to um, like the likes of Cape Verde, on paper we're a better team, but uh, football isn't played on paper, and it's just depressing to
Yeah,
talk about. It's so bad.
yeah,
We're so
yeah,
bad. And for one thing I will say though about the resignation, the correct decision, but respect to Steve Clarke for that, because I think everyone fully expected him to hang on to his 4 year contract like a life raft. The SFA, I don't think we're going to do anything. Um, so fair play to Steve Clarke. I think he's perhaps taken this team as far as he can, and I think we need something new. However, I will caution everyone and say grass isn't always greener. I don't expect someone to come in for us to be magically incredible, but I feel like there is maybe one or two candidates who could take us to the next level and even get us out the groups in the next Euros, hopefully, if we qualify. Because I think that's the last chance for this particular group of players to actually do anything. So yeah, sort of a bit of a long rant there, but
Yeah,
just
you've left me with a lot to unpack from what you've said, but I'll just go back to the beginning with what you said about sort of it was a struggle for you to watch more of the tournament, and I completely agree with that. I did watch most of the games that were to follow, certainly the final group games, and just that feeling of seeing other teams getting their successful moment and their historic moment of getting to the knockout stages for the first time. Cape Verde, of course, being one of them, South Africa as well, who I think everyone would have given a chance, especially after
not
watching that.
us,
Yeah, we
not
gave them a
us.
chance, but after that first game, I would have been going back on that statement after the defeat to Mexico. But you look at the third place teams now, and only one went through with 3 points in Senegal with positive 2 goal difference, a lot more than what sort of the Opta calculations had calculated to be enough. And I've seen someone making the point that if Scotland had beaten Haiti, they would have had to win by a large margin and then only lost very lightly to both Brazil and Morocco. That is one way to look at it. But of course, I don't think it's really the results that are the main concern. I think it's the level of performance across the 3 games, which is just not good enough. We knew we were going
No,
to be.
we didn't have a single good performance.
No, we didn't. We didn't. We had maybe, I would say, half an hour where we performed well against Morocco, the final half an hour, try to get back in the game. But as we said at the time, speaking on that game, you could have caveated that by saying Morocco got what they needed from the game and they were sitting on their lead. So,
Just
yeah, it was.
it was just terrible, like across all. And the one thing as well, Vinny Junior's an incredible player, right? But one thing that really irritated me was we let Vinny Junior score a header. When does he score headers ever? Have you ever seen Vinicius Junior score a header? Of course he does it against Scotland. It's unbelievable. And we just look so far out of our depth, especially against Brazil. Um, like I said earlier, no quality in the final third. Can't string 3 passes together. All the strikers were shambolic. For me now, Shankland is on par with the likes of Dykes and Adams in terms of just not doing anything. Um, Ross Stewart,
He does. He did have a lack of service, though. You've got
yeah,
to
no,
say
but
that.
he didn't do anything to help with that. He didn't, he didn't. Whenever the ball got to him, he didn't do it. Like his link up was atrocious. I remember in the Haiti game as well. There was one where he just kind of did like a weird shin like dink because he was trying to move it quickly and it just goes nowhere. Like what? Like obviously he needed more service and we didn't get do enough job good enough job getting it to our wide players and working the flanks and but I think he was poor. Adams was poor. Dykes was poor. Ross Stewart barely got a snap. Um, I think the only positive players maybe you could say were Lewis Ferguson, who I thought was really good in nearly every game. Um, I'd say Ben Garen Doak was positive. I wouldn't say he was good, but he was positive at least. And then Jack Hendry as well, despite that sort of mishap, he did get fouled VAR. I think came to the correct decision in the end. However soft you may think it is, he would have played the ball if Vinny Junior hadn't got in front of him. So I think Jack Hendry had a good tournament as well. All the rest of them, they should take a good look at themselves because we will be talking about Steve Clarke a lot, but the players need to bear some of the responsibility. It just didn't seem like the effort levels were there either. Like no quality, no effort. It was embarrassing.
Yeah, and I think speaking about the Brazil game. I think we'll start with the lineup because I think we were both quite happy with the lineup. Would you say?
Yeah,
And looked like on the face of it a positive lineup. Four at the back. He went with all the attacking players that I think everyone would have liked. Of course, Ken McLean comes into the midfield, a big shout.
I
But I
didn't mind
think
that.
with
I didn't
not,
mind
not
that either.
no, did I think he was one of the more positive players when he came on against Morocco, and
That's one thing I think I said in the last podcast. Kenny McLean is one of the favourites, right? That maybe you can harp on about. I think Kenny McLean has shown over the years that he is one of the favourites, but he's there for a reason. He always does a job in a Scotland jersey. Fair
yeah,
enough. It's the others that you can have issues with. But
yeah,
yeah, Kenny McLean's one that I've sort like earlier, maybe a few years ago. I'm thinking why you still selecting him. I've come around on him, and obviously he had that wonder goal to secure our place in the World Cup. But also I feel like he does a job. He moves the ball well. He's sound defensively, and yeah, that's my sort of take on Kerry McLean.
yeah. And I think at the start of the match against Brazil, it looked positive for Scotland. Obviously, before the goal, Scotland are on the ball a lot. Not really getting into too great areas, but they're settling themselves into the game with a lot of possession. But I think that was only playing into the Brazilians and Carlo Ancelotti's hands. They had a very positive and intelligent press, I would say, set up Brazil. And obviously, when Scott McKenna gets the ball on the left hand side, he does have the passing option, which I think he should make to Andy Robertson out wide with
What is he
Ryan.
doing? Like,
Yeah,
I remember watching it in the pub, and I feel like it almost happened in slow motion. I'm thinking, oh, he's going to play that, and he's not moved it yet. He's not moved it. And then next thing I know, Vinny Junior has the ball, and he's putting the ball in the back of the net, and I'm like, what was he actually doing?
yeah, it was an individual error. And but what I will say is that when he takes the touch infield and looks for an infield pass, there's no one to pass the ball to. There's no midfielder to pass the ball to. Lewis Ferguson, Kenny McLean are far too far away from the action, and I don't. That's obviously I don't think you can put the blame on them because maybe Steve Clarke's told them to come and take the ball off the central defenders. But I've seen some analysis of Scotland try to play out the back against the Brazil press, and it really does look amateurish. But when you're setting up to play against the strongest team in the group with one of the best managers we've seen in recent history of football, it was just a basic setup that was so easy to play against for Brazil. They just let us have the ball and pretty much let us make a mess of it. And that's obviously what happened for the first goal. Easily could have happened again for the second goal, but as you said, I think the foul on Jack Hendry, I didn't see it at the time, but when looking at VAR, I think it was the right decision. And that let Scotland off the hook, but we just never learned. We kept making the same mistakes, kept giving the ball away, and Brazil had an easy afternoon or evening, as it was
You know
um,
as well, I feel like
wherever it was timed in Miami.
the mistakes were made, right? And maybe this is the reason why they didn't do this, but I feel like there was no bravery either. There was no risk taking. There was no trying to play that dangerous pass or break the lines. There was a lot of just back and forward, allowing Brazil to stay in their shape and press us extremely well the way they did. Um, I mean, Vinny Junior was like a bat out of hell. I thought he was incredible, and especially in the pressing moments. And that's not something I'd say he's particularly known for, Vinicius Junior. But he really impressed me with the way we pressed the ball, and yeah, it was just out of our depth, outclassed, outworked. Um, just I don't know, out bravaried, out couraged. I don't know, you
Yeah,
know, they're just everything about it. And like I said earlier in my rant, we didn't get it out to Gannon Dolk enough. I think Curtis came on too late because I feel like if there was any weakness in the Brazil team, it was their fullbacks. Um, because I thought the fullbacks were good. Like Dolk got running at what was it, Dos Santos?
yeah,
Um,
Douglas Santos, yeah, the left back.
yeah, Douglas Santos. He got running at him a few times, and he got the better of him a couple of times. And Danilo on the other side, they're older, they're obviously good players. Danilo's played the height of European football for the majority of his career. But I feel like we didn't get it out to the wide men enough. We didn't work it fast enough to get them in one-on-one situations where they could threaten. And yeah, it was just I feel like Curtis, maybe if he'd come on a bit earlier, that could have been something for him to do as well. Because Curtis, he loves to take on a man. He's not. I don't think he's as explosive or as full of skill as Ben Garendolk is. But Curtis can, he can take on a man as well. And it was just really disappointing, just
Yeah,
flat, depressing. I think I've used that word like 3 times, but yeah, it's true.
yeah, no, and I think the Brazil obviously identified before the game how Scotland were going to play. Scotland's lack of ability to play out the back against a half decent press. It wasn't really and I wouldn't say it was a very intense press, but it was a very intelligent one, which they almost set the traps down and Scotland walked right into them. But as you said, we had no pace in our movement off the ball. There was a lot of midfielders, especially, and forward players just standing still, not looking to get on the ball really. And does that come down to individuals or the manager? I think probably both. Scotland looked like a team that hadn't been coached on how to sort of play out from the back and play through the Brazil press. But that being said, you can't blame Steve Clarke for the errors that the individuals make for the goals, and that goes to the second goal. I did want to just speak on Ben Gavin. I thought, as you said, I thought he tried to be positive, but at the same time he was shut down brilliantly. I thought Lucas Paqueta had done an excellent job of supporting his fullback. There was so many times he was on Garendolk and just never let him turn and face up his fullback, and it made it so difficult for him as a recognised outball to really get forward. And then for the second goal, it was Andy Robertson who Scotland win the ball back. He tries to play a sort of cute pass infield. Paqueta, who I just spoke about, wins it back really well. That's what you can say about Brazil. For the first 2 goals, they win the ball back remarkably well. Ryan does really well to take it off McKenna. Paqueta does really well to interrupt the sort of clearance, and then it's Bruno Guimaraes, I think it was, who clips it to the back post. A really, really brilliant cross. I think Angus Gunn should maybe do a little bit better, but that's the only thing I would say about Angus Gunn. I thought he was one of the players who could probably hold himself a little bit higher in this game because he made a few decent saves, and across the tournament, I thought he done himself no harm. Nathan Patterson, you could say maybe could have done better with a cross, but I think it was just a really poor goal to concede from a Scotland point of view when we win the ball back in our own box and then give it away instantly. But take nothing away from Vinicius, as you say, it's not something you would really sort of go sort of say that he's a natural at heading, but no, it was an excellent header at the back post and just such an easy goal from a Brazil point of view and one that was so avoidable from one of us a Scotland persuasion. And at that point in the game, just before half time, I think that was everyone's hopes of Scotland getting anything from this game gone. Would it be fair to say, Alex?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just like a hammer blow. And I don't know what else to say really. Just depressed, depressing for the fourth time, depressing. And yeah, Scotland
I'll
just
take it off you because you're struggling. I am as well. I think we all are. We're hurting with what's happened and how it's unfolded for Scotland, as we always seem to be, unfortunately, when it comes to these major tournaments. And this hasn't been a Steve Clarke thing. This has been a generational thing for Scotland fans older than ourselves. But we can always hope for the grass to be greener, as you alluded to earlier. And then obviously Brazil wrap up the game with a third goal on the hour mark to well, if Scotland went out, Scotland would have been eliminated at 2-0 or even 1-0. But to well and truly put the nail in Scotland and Steve Clarke's coffin was Matheus Cunha, who I thought done a really, really impressive. I spoke about intelligent. I thought Brazil were just really intelligent, and I think they showed that throughout the game. Bruno
yeah. And then
Guimaraes again.
he did his damn
surfing
celebration.
celebration.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Hurts to be on the other end of it.
yeah. Obviously, you as a Man United fan have enjoyed that a few times for at club level, but no, he's been on.
I love Mateus Cunha, but yeah, I hated him that night. It was quite, yeah, it was annoying to see that. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
he's
and he
a top
absolutely
player.
bullied. Sorry, absolutely bullied. Was it Jack Hendry in the build up? Just completely bodies him, and then runs through. Angus Gunn thinks he's going to take the shot, or Bruno Guimaraes, sorry, bullies Jack Hendry. Thinks he's going to take the shot, and then he just sort of shifts it to the side, and Matis Cunha finishes into almost an empty net. And at that point, it was game over. And Brazil had more chances. Vinicius easily could have had a hat trick or even more. And Scotland never really looked like getting a goal. They generated more chances towards the end of the game, and you were hoping that maybe for the goal difference that it might have made a difference. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, it wouldn't have. But Scott McTominay had a few heady chances, a few other ones. Alisson showing his class in the Brazil net, but Scotland never deserved anything from that
That
game.
one,
And
that header from McTominay, um, uh, he got up really well, but he has to try and steer it to a side, you know, because it's straight at Alisson, and you need to, if you want to trouble Alisson or get it past him, you need to find the toppest of the top bins, the highest point or the lowest point, and like
yeah,
just the side netting of the goal. That's the only way you're going to get past Alisson Becker. And Scott McTominay just nodded it at him.
yeah, and you thought we were going to get a goal towards the end. Well, not really. I mean, I wasn't sitting watching the game thinking we're going to score here, but we generated a few chances, and you thought
Yeah, but
might get a chance.
you
But
went back on that rather quickly.
no, I phrased it wrong. To say that Scotland deserved a goal from that game would be wrong, I think, and to say that Scotland deserved more from any of the games would be wrong. I think we actually got more than we deserved. Obviously, referencing to the Haiti game. Looking at the substitutes, obviously makes the sub at half time, and I think this is another player. I know you didn't mention him, but I'm going to mention him that can hold his head high after the tournament. I thought he was one of the better performers again. Was Kieran Tierney? I thought he was really positive when he came on. Was willing to take on his man, get balls into the box. I thought it was night and day between his performance and the captain's, unfortunately, and I've seen a lot of people suggesting that that might be the end for Andrew Robertson in that Scotland shirt, but I think he's
Yeah,
sort of
he should boost out with Clarke.
well, I think he's sort of farewell post to Steve Clarke would suggest otherwise that he's ready to sort of remain and fight for the next camp. Obviously, Andy Robertson's an excellent player who brings great experience to the squad. So you know, I think he's a good player to have around. But no, I think Kieran Tierney, I think in all his appearances really was positive and offered more than a lot of the other players. So and then you have to wait. Crazy looking at this every time. You have to wait until the 81st minute until we make the next subs. I think Andy Robertson was carrying an injury. That's why he came off at half time. I don't think he was hooked. As of course the captain. Ben Gannon Doak and Nathan Patterson made way for Ryan Christie and Anthony Ralston, which I've got to say isn't exactly the most inspiring substitutions. And then in the 91st minute, final two are made. Lawrence Shankland and John McGinn make way for Shea Adams and Finlay Curtis. And I think largely, apart from Kieran Tierney, the substitutes were ineffective, as they have been for most of the tournament, apart from maybe the one that comes to mind, Ben Gannon Doak against Morocco. So yeah, I think is that all we've got to talk about Scotland at the World Cup before we get on to maybe to Steve Clarke and as a whole.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Let's
well,
move on.
what was your immediate reaction when you seen Steve Clarke's resignation? Was it one of surprise, or did you
Thank
expect
God,
that to be the case?
thank the Lord. Hallelujah. I think I put in the Scottish Football Zone chat, or the Dugout chat, whatever one. And yeah, but I was surprised. But like I said earlier, respect to Steve Clarke for resigning because every bit of me thought he was going to hang on to that 4 year contract, but he didn't. And I think it's the right decision. I think he's taken this group of players as far as he possibly can. Um, within his within his skill set, the word I was looking for, and yeah, I think it's time for somebody new, time for someone who maybe plays a more attractive brand of football, an intense brand of football, if you will. A wee insight into maybe who I want to be the next Scotland manager, but yeah, I think that's time for Steve Clarke, a natural end to his tenure as Scotland manager.
Yeah, I'd agree. And his tenure was met with success, but also large disappointment when it comes to actually being at the tournaments. Credit to Steve Clarke and all that he's done. And, I think Scotland posted most successful Scotland manager. And by getting to tournaments, you can't really argue with that. But the level of performance and the lack of progression at tournaments has been baffling at times. And I think it's credit to him for stepping down because I think a lot of people, including myself, expected him to try and stay on for the next camp for the European Championship qualifiers and whatever else is next. I think the Nations League might be in the immediate future, but he goes out and I think you've seen him leaving the team hotel in Charlotte, and he looked a man of sort of relief that had got a lot of burden off of his shoulders and the pressure of disappointing the nation once more. And yeah, I think it's really unfortunate that this is the way it ends. But yeah, it's been disappointing for Steve Clarke for
Yeah,
Scotland as of late. And it's hard to say that it wasn't coming because I think the qualifying was papering over the cracks a little bit. It would be fair to say the performance levels in those games weren't there either. I can't actually remember a game in qualifying where you could say Scotland played well. I know we scored 4 goals against Denmark, which is excellent, but it was backs
it
to
was,
the wall for a lot of that game as well.
it was individual brilliance.
Yeah,
And Steve Clarke has given us a lot of great moments, like qualifying for the Euros, qualifying for the World Cup, qualifying for the Euros, obviously, twice, beating Spain at Hampden, you know, beating Norway as well. Over in Norway, that just sort of last minute scenes. I'll always remember that. I was in a pub on holiday with a bunch of Scotland fans, and it was one of the greatest
you're
moments.
always in a pub.
When the Scotland games are on, yeah, I like to get together with mates and watch the games. Show me.
No, no, I'm
But
only joking. I'm only joking. I'm winding you up.
yeah, no, but it's great. So I'd like to thank him, but I think it was just about time for Steve Clarke, and I look forward to the next manager.
Yeah, and as you sort of say, and I think, as I said earlier, it can't be you can't be a fly on the wall in the sort of dressing room of the tournament matches, but I think a lot of how a team plays does come from the manager, especially in modern day football. And of course, as we say, the players need to take responsibility for how they perform, especially the individual errors in the matches, the Grant Hanley and Scott McKenna ones, especially. But I think, as you sort of alluded to, I think Steve Clarke has ran his course when it comes to Scotland, and it just brings into question how the 4 year deal came about, why it came about at the time it did, and I just think that was just such a silly decision and was always going to end up being a stupid one to make from the SFA at the time to offer him a 4 year contract, and then 4 weeks later he resigns. But no, credit to him for going out the way he did and understanding that I don't think he could have taken this team any further. And I honestly wouldn't have had confidence us getting to the next European Championships with Steve Clarke in charge, and that's my honest opinion. I think with a squad that's got aging, that's got the sort of majority of the key players in it are aging, and you don't know if they're going to be at the same level. And we spoke about relying on individual moments. I think we need a manager to come in that's maybe not, it doesn't have to be more positive in the style of play, but just more positive and installing belief in that group of players that they can go out and give Brazil and Morocco a challenge. Whereas for large parts of those games, all of the Brazil game and large parts of the Morocco game, that didn't look the case.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, should we talk about potential candidates now?
Yeah, yeah, we can do. Obviously, I think you've sort of referenced the one who I think is a lot of people's preferred option. Whether Ange Postecoglou, I'm guessing it is, would take the Scotland jobs. Obviously, a big question. Been in international management before with Australia and successfully so, but is there still another Premier League venture for him that he wants to go down? I think he's still a manager very highly thought of in that league, despite how things went at Nottingham Forest, especially because, of course, he did um, stick to his word and
I
bring
think
in
Ange
Tottenham
has
their first
I think
trophy.
Ange has been the victim. Sorry to cut you off,
No,
Ethan, but I think Ange has been the victim of managing two extremely poorly run clubs in the Premier League, especially Nottingham Forest. Go through managers like a hot knife through butter. Um, and I think, this season at Spurs is showing that they're a shambles as well, no matter who's in charge. How many managers have they gone through this season? Three, four. So, yeah, I think with the players that we've got and potential young players coming through, I think he'd be good. I think maybe some of the current group would struggle with his style, with his intensity. But then that leaves you to think, will there be changes in selection? Will there be new guys coming through? I've got a big point about who I think maybe should have been at the World Cup with hindsight in terms of centre back options um, over Grant Hanley, because I think the comparison's night and day. Is Luke Graham from Dundee, 22-year-old, played in the same league as Hanley all season, was very good. Has received interest. Reports are suggesting that over 40 clubs from across Europe, including Rangers, are interested in the Dundee centre half. And better than Grant Hanley. Hanley wasn't even first choice at Hibs when all the defenders were fit. Hanley wasn't couldn't get a game. Obviously, I think it was loyalty from Steve Clarke, but Luke Graham's one. I think could be brought into the fold, and I think would work well in an Ange Postecoglou system. Yeah, I think we're suited for it, with a number, especially a number of the younger players. And I think it would be good. I think there'd obviously be teething issues. It wouldn't be fantastic straight away, but why not? I feel like Ange likes it here as well. Hopefully, and yeah, and as well, I spoke to Laurie about this. Obviously, as well known, I'm a Rangers supporter. But he's probably the only Celtic manager I've never like. I've not disliked, if you know what I mean. You know,
yeah,
you know what I'm trying to say.
yeah. No, I
He's
get what you're saying. Yeah,
a sound. He's a likable guy. He's a sound guy. It seems like he tells it how it is. And um, the only stumbling block I could see for Ange coming in would be him working with the incompetent SFA, because he's he's just been through working with two incompetent football clubs. In any interviews you've seen him talking about it, he seems like done with all that, if you know what I mean. And we've all criticised the SFA, their handling of the referees, their handling of the way they've run the, you know, Steve Clarke's contracts and the way they've ran the Scotland setup. So maybe that would be a potential stumbling block. So incompetent in my eyes anyway, the SFA over the years. So
Yeah, but I think I would completely agree with a lot of what you said, and I think the question is always going to be Vans, and on top of whether he would take the job. And as you said, I think he said as much previously at the European Championships, the last one when he was on ITV. He said that he sort of really enjoyed his time in Scotland and had a sort of soft spot, sorry, for
a
Scottish people.
soft
And
a soft spot for Scotland.
yes, yeah, that and the national team and just the people from spending obviously a couple of years in Glasgow. So, but is it too sort of extreme of a change going from one um, one sort of extreme to another in terms of Steve Clarke to Ange Postecoglou? I don't think his tactics would be as extreme as what we've seen at club level because I think there's only so much you can instruct a team to play like as a national team out with how they play at club level when you're only seeing them a handful of times a year, only for a handful of matches compared to what they play at club level. So it would be really interesting. But I think the fact is that he already has experience in international management would really help the sort of case of him being a candidate. I think some of the other ones were the obvious David Moyes, who I think we spoke on before. You're not
Only
going to
got a
get
year.
him to.
He's only got a year left on his Everton deal.
Yes, but can we afford to wait about a year? I think I've seen a few people saying that they're going to be
See,
a
see
sort
if
of
we wanted to appoint David Moyes, would we need to buy him out from his Everton court? Is that how that works?
yeah, I think so.
Or can a manager manage a national team, or is that too much work?
That's
You
too
know,
much work. Modern day football, that's way too much work. It's not FIFA career mode, mate.
the players are playing 70 games a season. Why can't the managers? Right, come on, the managers need to put the work in
Because
as
the
well.
managers are managing the group of players that don't get selected for the internationals and planning for the upcoming games. It's not as if it's a holiday. It's not a holiday. The manager doesn't get a holiday. The manager is the most
Good.
demanding. The manager's a more demanding job than the actual players is. That's why the manager often gets paid. Well, sometimes gets paid more money than the players. Not always,
Managers don't
because
get
you get.
paid. Managers never get paid more than players.
Oh, the Celtic and Rangers manager. Well,
I don't think so.
I think Brendan Rodgers did.
Tavernier was on like 40 grand a week.
I think Brendan Rodgers get paid more than any of the Celtic players.
No. Yeah, but Brendan Rodgers is um he's a well known
What's for your say?
no, he's a well known like he likes the money, Gucci
Yeah, he's
belt.
a good businessman. Yeah. No, but
Gucci belt.
he's a good businessman. But no, I think David Moyes would be difficult, especially now with the success he's had at Everton and sort of making them a half decent side again. I know not maybe where they want to be in terms of the size of the club. Obviously,
I
other
would
ones, John Mc.
I wouldn't want David Moyes anyway. I just feel like
No,
that would be a slightly more expansive Steve Clarke style.
I don't think it's the style. It's the problem with Steve Clarke. I think it's just I think it was the mentality that was the problem, not the style. Because I think you can still sort of instill a belief in a group of players while playing a what you would say quote unquote a negative style. But I don't think that's what Steve Clarke did. And other ones, John McGlynn, Thomas Frank, I seen suggested.
No,
Um,
John McGlynn. I wouldn't mind John McGlynn.
I think John McGlynn's looking at it now. I think he's the realistic target. He can play an expansive style. He can play a
This
defensive
could be
style.
his
He's very
this could be his
adaptable.
chance though for a big job. It's because the Hearts job is gone now, and we all thought maybe McGlynn could be the next Hearts manager. Hearts job is gone. This could maybe one of his last chances for a big job. I wouldn't mind John McGlynn. I'd take him.
Yeah, I'd welcome the idea of that. I'm sure Falkirk fans probably don't want to hear that, but sometimes you've got to, as you said,
Uh,
Falkirk,
country
Falkirk a
country
big club
comes
in their own right, but not the
country
same
comes
level.
before country comes before Falkirk. unfortunately, guys. But
No,
yeah,
but Falkirk are a big club in their own right, but it's not the same level of job as the Scotland national team, of course. And I think if they came calling for John McGlynn, it would certainly be a thought. He would certainly have to think about it.
there's only two jobs in the country that rival the level of the Scotland national team job.
Yeah, that's probably a fair statement. You're not really uncovering anything there, Alex. I think most people can probably agree with that. But
Hey, I'm
uh,
not trying to make a controversial take. I'm just stating it how it is.
yeah, no, I agree with you. Anyone else? I don't think there's obviously some left
Martin
field
O'Neill.
shouts. Martin O'Neill, no, not going to happen. He's obviously just signed a 1 year deal with an option for a further at Celtic, and finally got his backroom staff in place, which I think we'll get on to maybe later in this episode when we speak
Yeah.
about I'd say more ingoings. There's not been too many outgoings. Been a few for Scottish football, but first of all, what do you want to do? We're going to speak more about the World Cup in general.
Okay.
We've got we're going to do a sort of bracket predictor now that we know the routes for all the nations in the knockout stage, and I've got a team of the group stage with some honourable mentions. Where do you want to go first? The team of the group stage,
Most,
or do our bracket predictions?
we'll do team of the group stage first.
Okay,
You've made your team of the group stage, and I'm going to debate it with no preparation.
okay, right. Okay, so I'll go through my goalkeepers first. Obviously, I've got a few honourable mentions here. One of them is Angus Gunn, because he had the most goals prevented in the group stage, most expected goals prevented, should I say? And I thought he can hold his
Really?
head high. Yeah, he did. Most goals
Oh,
prevented.
we are so bad.
Someone who I've actually been really impressed with, and I think could make a big move. Certainly been linked with a big move to Premier League clubs off of his performances. Some people quoting him the best goalkeeper in Africa is Mustafa Ahmed Shaber, the Egypt goalkeeper. No clean sheets for him, but did save a penalty the other night against Iran, and has been excellent anytime I've seen him. Made some really big saves. Also, Patrick Beach, the Australian goalkeeper who kept two clean sheets and helping them to qualify in second place in Group D. But of course, I think you've already mentioned him this episode, and he goes into my team. It's Cape Verde's 40-year-old goalkeeper, Vazinha. Two clean sheets, second in goals prevented, over 10 million, I think, Instagram follows as well. And
It's
I
got
don't think
actually it's at like 17 million now.
yeah, I knew it was well over 10, but I wasn't 100% sure on what number it was. But no, I think that shows on top of obviously the other story, which I'm now forgetting his name, the New Zealand right back, Tim, Tim
Oh,
Payne.
Tom Payne.
Yeah, Tim Payne just shows the extent of the worldwide football support. But have you got any disagreements with Vazinha and the team of the group stage?
No, probably not. I mean, you could pick some obvious big names, but that's not what the World Cup's about. It's about giving the little guy the shot. So yeah, you go for Xenia and
Yeah.
goals.
Yeah. Okay, and then we'll go to central defence next up. I've got another Cape Verde player in my honourable mentions here. It's Dini Borges, who I think it's obviously a collective effort from Cape Verde from a defensive point of view. They've been absolutely excellent, but he's been maybe the standout of the defenders, so he deserves an honourable mention. Someone who I thought has been really solid without having to really break a sweat, in fairness. And Scotland's group, Gabriel, bouncing back from obviously that big Champions League final penalty miss.
Gabriel fires into the Budapest sky. Oh, it's always a
Uh,
great thing when that pops up in my feed.
Next up, another sort of London-related central defender, formerly of Tottenham Hotspur, now of Galatasaray, is Colombia's Davinson Sanchez, as they obviously topped their group, two clean sheets in there. Really unfortunate not to get the winning goal against Portugal. I don't know if you've seen that one, Alex, but it was toenail offside, denied him from getting the winning goal late on. And the other one who didn't play all the games through injury, but I'm hoping he's back for their knockout or round of 32 tie against Norway is Wilfred Singo, also of Galatasaray of Ivory Coast, was absolutely excellent, especially in that opening game against Ecuador. And then the final one that I think one of the most opinion splitting defense central defenders in the world. Dio Upamecano, who I thought had an excellent season at Bayern Munich, and I think he's been the standout in that French defence.
I don't think you can give it to a French guy.
No, he's not. He's an honourable mention. This isn't my two. My two are arguably you could say two best central defenders in the world. They're certainly up there. As an Ecuador central defender, Willian Pacho, although I thought Joe Ordonez, the Club Brugge defender, has been excellent for them as well. And the other one, with a goal and an assist for the Netherlands, Virgil van Dijk.
I wouldn't give it to William Pacho.
Why?
They've conceded in 2 games.
Yeah, but they also beat Germany, and he was excellent in the game against Germany.
Yeah, but Germany were already through.
Yeah, but Ecuador weren't. They had to win.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like easy, you know?
Yeah, but it's
Um,
not all about the clean sheet value. It's about how they perform, and I think he's been the best central defender, arguably in the world this season.
I'd
We're
go,
back-to-back
I'd,
champions.
I'd go Van Dijk and Davinson Sanchez.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. I'm willing to hear that. Okay, going to left back now. I've got three honourable mentions. You mentioned them, I think, when we spoke about Australia and the preview, and I believe he recorded the highest sprint speed in
Oh,
the
big
group
Jordan
stage.
Wallace.
Yeah,
The
Jordan
goal.
Boss, the Fire Nord, fly, flying, well, flying Dutchman, playing in the Netherlands, but obviously Australian, and he's been one of their standouts as well. Really impressive. Nathaniel Brown. This is based off really one game. The first game, I know it was against Curacao. I thought he was absolutely excellent. My first time.
I thought he was quite good against Cote d'Ivoire as well. The Nathaniel Brown. Oh, I've got a question, and I never figured this out. Who the hell is Germany's number 9?
Number nine. What is in
Yeah,
like the number nine or starts up front?
no, the number 9, because he was playing against Ivory Coast, and I meant to research who it was because I couldn't put a a name to the face, and it was
Is
really
it
annoying
is it
me.
is it Bayer? Maximilian Bayer,
I don't
possibly.
know. It's,
Oh
it's, it
well,
was,
while you
it
look it up,
was,
I'll just speak more on Nathaniel Brown. It was my first time really seeing him. Obviously, he's had a few really solid seasons at Eintracht Frankfurt in Germany. But
oh, I know who it was. It was leveling.
Jamie Leveling, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I knew I recognised him, but I was like, "What? Who is that?" Sorry.
just yeah, no, yeah, and I thought he was excellent, especially in that game against Curacao. My first time seeing him, and I can see why apparently Bayern Munich are interested in signing him. The other one wouldn't have expected him to be in any sort of conversations for these teams, but especially against Portugal, he was absolutely excellent. And so was his fellow fullback, which I'll get on to, was Arthur Masuaku of the DR Congo. He's had a really solid tournament, of part of a really strong defensive setup, which I think could possibly cause England a few problems in the round of
Or the
32.
DR Congo, the DR horses.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
What?
I don't
The
get it.
DR or the DR Congo, the DR horses of the tournament.
No, my brain's not
I'm
present.
making it sound like DR when I'm saying dark. It's just terrible, but it
All right, okay. Another terrible joke. You know, that's what you're guaranteed on
you
this podcast.
you can't give me grief because you didn't get that.
No, I didn't. Went over my head.
It went
Uh,
over your massive head.
yeah, it did.
Um,
But
so
no. And then my starting left back didn't feature in the last game because the team had already wrapped up the group, and big hope for this team as the host nation. It's Villarreal left back Alex Freeman, who featured no contributed goals and assists in the first two games, and Mauricio Pochettino had the pleasure of resting him in order for their round of 32 clash against Bosnia and Herzegovina. Any disagreements?
No,
No, you happy with that? Okay,
no, I'm happy. I'm happy with that. I think don't know, I've got an interesting shout for the middle of the park.
okay,
What
we'll
have you
get there.
got?
But first of all, we've got right back. I've got three honourable mentions here. Someone who was strangely rested for the last game of their group, despite it being a battle for top spot, but he did score a goal in each of the games before that. Was Daniel Munoz. As I said about DR Congo, Wan-Bissaka also in honourable mentions. He was excellent against Portugal and's been really solid across the tournament. And the third one played last night in the opening knockout game of the knockouts. Alistair Johnston, I think he's been a standout for
Uh,
Canada. Recorded, I think, one of the highest. I think it was the third highest for any defender for expected goals and assists, despite not
but,
recording any yet. He
but the
was
best right back in this tournament so far has been Ashraf Hakimi.
no, he's
He's
not
been
even.
good.
He's been okay.
He's been good. He scored against Haiti.
Yeah, but he wasn't very good against Scotland, though, was he? He
I
was all
thought
right.
no, I thought he was quite good.
I think he's been okay, but maybe I'm judging that. Maybe that's being
You're
harsh
just
on him
you're
by
just
his.
selecting all the stinker nations. You're not picking anyone apart from Van Dijk. You're just selecting all the wee stinkers.
The stinkers. USA topped our group.
Yeah, they're stinky group.
Okay, well this right back, his team didn't even get qualifying for the next round, but he
Oh
got
my,
two goals and an assist. It's Ramin Rezaeian of
I
Iran,
can't pick him.
36 year old, two goals and an assist from right
Can't
back.
pick him. Can't pick him
Why not? So
because
you're putting Hakimi in?
yeah,
Okay, fair.
because Morocco got through, didn't they? Ah, ha, ha. Oh
But it's an
my!
individual. It's an individual's going into this team.
I nearly swore there. No, but
Aye, watch what you're doing.
Morocco
Right.
got.
No, what were you going to say?
I just said Morocco got through. Just saying
Okay,
that.
fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm willing to hear it. Right, midfield. So this is the sort of two more defensive midfielders. You can do a six or an eight or whatever.
Uh,
So
uh,
we've got
uh,
honourable mention, Lewis Ferguson. Uh, obviously, another honourable
no,
mention.
can't Scotland went
He's an
out.
honourable mention. Another honourable mention. Felix and Mecha. That's based off a lot of the Curacao game again because he was really poor against Ecuador, but he was excellent. And yeah, I think I've seen a lot of clubs looking at him and sort of surpassed my expectations of what I was expecting from him from this tournament. So yeah, another one. Uh, Elliot Anderson. I think been one of the standouts for England. Obviously got his big move. I
Bro
think
can't
he
be
was
an
really
honor.
good. And
Bro can't be an honourable mention when he's just signed for City for 150 million or whatever it was. Holy!
yeah, he is, but he's not in the team. So another one's who I was really impressed with when I watched Ivory Coast was Christ Inu Olai. He's looked really good. Gustavo Puerta of Colombia, who loves a shot from the edge of the box, which I
I
love
just
about
know
him.
you're going to disagree with this, but he's been very good. I think he's been the best midfielder for this team, who have been underperforming as a team. Um, it's just going to sound like complete bias coming out my mouth, but it's Nico Raskin who has
Yeah, but
been,
he didn't. He only started one of the games.
yeah, but he's been excellent for Belgium.
No,
Like
he was good. He wasn't excellent. He was good.
changed the game in the first game, was really good in the second
He wasn't.
match.
He was good in the set. He wasn't really good in the second game. He was good in the. If he was really good in the second game, he'd have started the third game. He was good in the second game. He was really good in the first game, and then they obviously got the assist when he came on. Him and Lukaku immediately on, immediately involved in the goal. No, he had a good tournament. He's had a good tournament so far, but I don't think he's played enough to be in the team.
But
Do you disagree?
yeah,
Okay. Next up, this
you're
is
all right.
a little bit.
Okay, my other shout is scored against France the other day. Really,
Oh,
really nice finish from him.
Thelonious Gerard Asgard. He was
Yeah,
he was very he had some really good moments against France and had some really poor moments, but no, an
see
excellent
off
late
the back.
taken goal.
See it. Apparently, see off the back of that single performance against France, clubs are interested in him. If we can ship him off for a decent fee, I'd take it, man.
Uh, no, no, no. This is quite a generous honourable mention, but this is a lot based off the first game where they won 5-1. It's Sweden's Yasin Ayari. He got a couple of goals. Moises Caicedo of Ecuador, been a lot more sort of forward, playing a lot more forward than you usually see him at Chelsea. Pedro Vite, I think, was the standout for Ecuador and really good against Germany. Someone who not always convinced at club level, but I think has stepped up and looked really solid. And what I've seen in France, Aurelien Tchouameni, and then my starting two midfielders. This is a bit of a toss up, and credit to you because I was willing to not write off this midfield, but say it was a weak point in their team before they played Scotland. But I think I've got two that could maybe go in. Either of them I'm happy to go with. Lucas Paqueta or Bruno Guimaraes. I'm going to go with the
Oh,
Newcastle man
credit,
though in
credit,
my team.
credit to me, because I said they're actually a really good midfield.
Yeah, yeah, he did. But I think they were made to look a lot better. I think they'll be exposed in later rounds in the tournament, which we'll get onto in our bracket. I think they were made to look good against a very below average Scotland team on the night. And my other player, in fact, is someone who we spoke about when previewing this side that could be a big player, a sort of youthful difference to a very experienced squad in Switzerland who's not started a lot of games either, but has contributed remarkably throughout the game he did start in the sub appearances as Johan Manzambi of Switzerland. So he's going into my team alongside Bruno Guimaraes. Any disagreements there? No, quite happy with that.
Well, the forward line's interesting though. There's a lot of debate in the forward line.
Right, so this is my sort of attacking midfielder in behind the striker. I'm gonna just say all the nominated players that I've got here, and then you can pick one, and then I'll see if uh, you've got the same one as me. Okay.
Okay.
So Lucas Paqueta, as I said, um, yeah, Ismaila Sarr of Senegal nicked a couple of goals as they did get through on the last day after smashing Iraq. Ismail Saibari, of course, the only player
I don't think you
along
can
with.
put him through as an attacking midfielder though, can you?
Yeah, well, you were trying to fit everyone in this team, though. Okay, well, maybe he can go up front wherever the striker is, right? Okay, but he's going as an attacking midfielder in that team, right? Only player along with Vinicius Junior and Lionel Messi to score in every group game. Jude Bellingham of England, Roberto Alvarado of Mexico. I think he's been the standout, and I had to put one Mexico player in there because they obviously won all the group games. And close to home, Motherwell star, who's probably going to go for over 10 million, I'd imagine now, after these World Cup performances, is Eliza Just.
I'm gonna go for the boring answer, Jude Bellingham.
Jude Bellingham. Oh,
Yeah,
it's
I think
interesting.
he has actually been really good.
I
It's
went with I went with Saibari.
Can't put him at Cam though. He's not been played at Cam.
Right, well, I'll put him up front then. He's second striker.
I
Okay, right. Wingers. I've only actually got one winger in my team. Probably know who it's going to be. It's not really difficult to guess, but I'll go through the honourable mentions. Got Gonzalo Plato of Ecuador, Keito Nakamura of Japan, Yan Diamande of Ivory Coast, who had an excellent story. I don't know if you've seen it, Alex.
Can we just wrap this up and say Messi, Haaland, and Mbappe?
Well, I've not, no, not Haaland.
You
Florian
say
Wirtz, Cody
what?
Gakpo, Michael Olise, that's my honourable mentions, and the one winger I'm selecting has to be in the team, Vinicius Junior.
Okay,
Disagree,
interesting.
no? Right, my
Um,
honourable mentions at striker are the two strikers that I selected: Matis Cunha, Johan Vissa, Erling Haaland, Usman Dembele, Denis Undav, and then the two I selected. Two of the best World Cup players of all time. I think both top three World Cup players of all time: Kylian Mbappe and Lionel Messi.
hmm. What did you say? The two greatest players ever?
No, I said two of the top three World Cup players of all time.
Hmm. Who's the other one? Pelé?
Yeah,
What about Maradona? She not?
no, no, they've surpassed Messi and Mbappe have surpassed Maradona.
But they've won the same amount of World Cups as him, or
But
less.
they've performed better in the other World Cups over more World Cups, I would say.
I don't think Messi. It's interesting because I don't think Messi has been that good in World Cups until recently. Maybe that's just because I'm younger.
No,
Um,
he's certainly been better in the recent ones, but he was very good in the 2014 one.
yeah, yeah, he was, but I feel like from I think 2022 was a bit of a renaissance for him. Um, I'm not saying I wasn't going to say I don't like Messi's been that good. No, but yeah, I'd have Messi, Mbappe, Haaland.
Haaland over Vinicius.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
easily.
All right. Well, that's our teams of the group stage. Do you want to move on to the bracket prediction now?
Uh,
Have you got the bracket in front of you, or do you want me to read out the
no,
games?
I've got it, mate. I'm not
Oh,
a
he's
child.
prepared. He's prepared.
I
Okay,
was
so
just,
obviously there was
I was
already
just
a game last.
messaging someone.
Okay, obviously there was already a game last night between South Africa and Canada.
I
Not a
think, I
very.
think, I think South Africa could win that game.
Would you have predicted South Africa?
No, I would have predicted Canada.
Yeah, I think South Africa made it a lot closer than people expected, and a real improvement across the tournament from them. Credit to them, the Bafana, but Canada come out on top.
Oh,
Uh,
Bafana, Bafana.
First of all, we'll start with Germany, Paraguay. Who have you got winning that one?
I don't know. Germany,
I agree, Germany. France, Sweden.
France.
Yeah, agreed. Netherlands, Morocco.
I think Netherlands have been really, really good. Do you know an honourable mention actually? It can't get in over obviously the world class players, but Brian Brobby's been really, really good.
Yeah,
Um,
I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that.
so yeah, I think I'm just gonna Netherlands just edge it. I
Yeah,
reckon.
Netherlands, I agree with you. Netherlands look strong, and I think they will edge out a Morocco side from watching them in our group. I don't think they're as strong as they were at the previous tournament, but we'll see. Portugal, Croatia.
Portugal.
Oh, I think Croatia are going to do it. They're just. I don't know. There's just an inevitability about Croatia. We wrote them, or I wrote them off, saying they weren't sort of the same team they were, and they probably aren't. But they've just got that knack of winning. They've got so much experience in that team. Portugal haven't looked great. I think Croatia will find a way to get to the round of 16, and Portugal will be knocked out. I've really not been impressed with Portugal so far.
Okay.
Spain v Austria.
Um, I'm gonna make my first big call of the knockouts.
Oh,
I'm gonna say Austria to progress.
no, I wasn't. so against that shout because I don't think Spain have impressed either, but I think they will become better. They've also not conceded a goal. I know they've not played in the strongest group, but I think Spain will have enough. I don't think it'll be
They're
pretty.
struggling to score goals though.
Yeah,
I
they
think
are.
that could play into Austria's hands because I think Austria have more quality than some of the teams that Spain were coming up against in the group.
I
Maybe
would say they
maybe
have more quality than all of the teams Spain come up against in the
yeah.
group, arguably.
Maybe you could say Uruguay similar, but I think Austria edge it. So yeah, I think I'm going to back the Austrians to knock Spain out.
I'll go with Spain. The major host USA v Bosnia and Herzegovina.
I've been really impressed with the USA. I think they'll make light work of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bosnia, they did not impress me. Their football is ugly. They lack little. They lack forward ability, in my opinion. Um, if Canada had a more clinical first game, that could have been them, in the mud already. So I think USA have more quality than Canada, and I've actually been really impressed with them, and I'll back them to make light work of the Bosnians and Herzegovinians.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think USA will go through there. Another tough one, I'd say, Belgium v Senegal.
I'm gonna back the African champions, the real African champions, Senegal, to knock out Belgium.
Oh, that's an interesting shout. To agree with it, I think this one could easily go either way, but I'm going to give it just to the Belgians. I think they'll just squeeze through and face the US in the next round. Brazil v Japan, which is, of course, on today.
It's just tough. I don't want it to just seem like I'm just backing underdogs for the sake of it, but I genuinely think Japan will knock them out.
I agree with you. I think Japan will win.
Yeah, I think Japan will progress and face Norway.
I agree.
Yeah, so we both think Norway will progress through and face off against Japan in the next round.
Uh, yes, yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next one's Mexico and Ecuador.
I'm back in the home side. I think Mexico will be really strong, especially on home turf. I think when it goes beyond that, they might struggle, but I expect them to win against Ecuador.
Yeah, me too. I just think Ecuador don't have enough going forward.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, I think Mexico are really solid all over the pitch.
I agree.
I just think that trumps it. So yeah, I'm gonna back the hosts as well. Right, England or the Democratic Republic of Congo.
I think England will win. I don't think it'll be easy. I think it'll be a struggle, but I think they'll get the job done.
Okay, I'm gonna go England as well. Okay, the GOAT versus Messi. Cape Verde and Bosnia taking on Lionel Messi in Argentina.
Argentina, obviously.
I'm gonna. This is tough.
No, it's
Um,
not. Stop trying. Hold up the suspense.
I'm gonna go Argentina as well. All right, next one.
Australia v Egypt.
Egypt.
I'll go with Australia then,
Okay.
just to be. Well, I think whoever it is, it's lambs to a slaughter anyway when they get to the next round. But Switzerland v Algeria.
Argentina aren't that good, are they?
Well, we'll see. Right, the last sort of side, yeah, last kind of side. We've got Switzerland Algeria as the first match.
I'm gonna back. The Swiss.
Yeah, I agree. I think Switzerland will get the job done. I don't think it'll be easy. I think Algeria are a decent team. 9 out of 10 African sides qualifying to the knockout
Yeah.
stages. Excellent for African football. Uh, and then the last one, another African side involved. Ghana going up against Colombia. Who do you fancy in that one?
Colombia.
I agree with you. And then we will go back to the top where we've got Germany v France in the round of 16.
France, the French.
Yeah, I agree. France look really strong. I think they'll have too much for Julian Nagelsmann's Germany. And then you've got Canada up against the Netherlands, both of us had.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Netherlands.
Agree. I think we had completely opposite ones in this. So you had Portugal up against Austria, I had Croatia v Spain.
This is gonna be difficult to keep track of. I'm gonna go
No,
Portugal.
not really. Not really. I've got it all. I've got it all.
I'm
My
gonna go
brain's turned
Portugal.
on for this one. Who did you say? Portugal?
Portugal to beat Austria.
Okay, I think Spain will beat Croatia.
Okay,
Next one, USA v Senegal for you and Belgium for me.
I'm gonna back the hosts, USA.
I'm going to back the hosts to beat Belgium. I think the USA are strong, and I think the home advantage will be really helpful for them. Then both of us had Japan versus Norway in the next game in New York.
I'm gonna go with the Norwegians.
I'm going to go with the Japanese.
Wow, wow. Okay, Mexico
Mexico
versus
versus England
Colombia.
again at the Azteca.
I'm gonna go Mexico.
I'm going to go with Mexico as well. I think they will dump out Thomas Tuchel's side at the round of 16. Okay, Argentina v, as I said, the lambs to the slaughter. Argentina v Australia for me, Egypt for you. Do you think they can disrupt the champions' run to the final?
Oh, that's, no. Argentina.
Yeah, I agree, Argentina. And then Switzerland versus Colombia.
Colombia.
I agree, Colombia. Right, going back up to the top. Now we have France against the Netherlands.
France.
Yeah, I think France will get the job done. And then for you, it's Portugal versus the USA. For me, it's Spain versus the USA.
I'm gonna go the USA.
Oh, the USA to go all the way to the semis.
Is that the semis? Wow.
Yeah, that'd be the semis. This is the quarterfinals we're at. Um, I am going to go for Spain. I think they will just do enough. I don't think it'll be pretty. I don't think they're as strong a team as they were at the European Championships, but I think they will have enough to beat the USA.
Okay.
Next up, for me, well, Mexico for both of us, and then versus Norway for you and Japan for me. Now, this is not being played in Mexico either. This is in Miami, so no home advantage for Mexico at this stage of the tournament.
I'm gonna go with Norway.
Oh, the dark horse is going far. I'm going with Japan. Yeah, okay.
Wow. Okay.
So, and then next up, Argentina versus Colombia.
Colombia.
Oh, I've back Argentina. Although Messi hasn't scored, and I think I've seen LA's last 9 matches against Colombia, so could be a potential banana skin for him. Right, moving on to the semis now. Uh, sorry, I just need to sort out my bracket again. So France against the USA for you.
France.
Oh, the fairy tale comes to an end. France versus Spain for me, and I'm tipping France to go through there also. And then the other semi final would be,
Norway versus Colombia for me.
yeah, and Japan versus Argentina for me. Japan get to they would be the second Asian side to get to the
I'm gonna go
semis.
Norway. Norway to make it to the final.
Norway to make it to the final.
Yeah.
Whoa, that is a big call. Okay, I'm gonna go with uh, who, who's Argentina? No, yeah, Argentina. No,
Yeah,
is that the right side of the bracket? Argentina
yeah.
and France.
Argentina and France. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think it'll be a rematch to the last final, and I think Kelly and Mbappe will have the winning say this time around.
I'm gonna go with France to absolutely batter Norway again in the final.
That is crazy. So you've got the side that just gave up. Norway just gave up against France and just rested their team, but they're going to get all the way to the final and play France again.
Yeah,
Okay, fair enough.
why
Got
not?
some interesting. No, I've got some interesting shouts in there, but ultimately we both agree that we think the French will win their fourth World Cup. Is that correct? Yeah, fourth World Cup,
I
second
think
for
so.
Kelly and Mbappe. So yeah, I think that's our predictions for the World Cup, and I think that's everything we've covered on the World Cup. Fortunately, we stop talking about it. We obviously will reference to it, I think, in future episodes throughout the tournament. But now that Scotland are out, I think it's a dark subject for us, isn't it, Alex?
Yeah, who cares? Who actually cares? Uh, so yeah, now we get to talk about the good stuff. Ben Godfrey has signed for Rangers on a year-long loan deal with an option to buy in the contract. Absolutely terrific signing from Rangers. Ben Godfrey comes in, a big centre half, versatile. He can play left back and right back along similar lines to Ross McCrory, versatile defender. I'm quite pleased with that.
Are you? You sound like a Rangers spokesperson. Well, is that deal being confirmed now then?
It was confirmed this morning.
Or was it? I missed it. But no, I did see that was a rumoured transfer in the making. And what's his current club?
Atalanta, I think he's on
Atalanta
loan.
still. I know he was playing at Bromby and Sheffield United, was it last season? I think.
Yeah,
So yeah, that looks like a decent signing on the face of it. Obviously, previously Premier League experience in decent leagues last season in the Champions League and the Danish Super League. So I think he could certainly address, which I think is been a little bit of a problem area for Rangers, certainly defensively. I think their players in that area look good on the ball, especially towards the end of the season with and Emmanuel Fernandez and Nasser Giga, but exposed defensively numerous times. And of course, Nasser Giga no longer at Rangers after his loan deal expired. Other Rangers signings across the
Ross
transfer market so
McCrory,
far.
Lawrence
Ross
Shankland.
McCrory. Yeah.
It looks like Jack Butland could be on his way to Hull City with the Ivor Pandor coming the other way. A fee of £3 million being paid for Jack Butland, and a fee of £6 million being not played for Pandor. So essentially a £3 million swap deal type thing. Um, Quite happy with that. I think Butland's just come to the end of his Rangers career. Unfortunately, he's made too many high-profile errors. And yeah, I think it's time we did get someone new in between the sticks. Another interesting um, report: Rangers have held initial talks with Bologna over the signing of Lewis Ferguson, with Roma and Lazio also interested in the midfielder. Apparently, Bologna would demand a fee of £17 million.
Yeah. Yeah. That's obviously been the big news of the summer transfer window for Rangers. Will Lewis Ferguson make the move to the club that he obviously supported as a boy, the club that his father and his uncle previously played for? Um, I think there's obviously a chance that it happens, but I do think it's I do think that it just won't happen. I think that there's going to be so
Rangers,
many.
firstly, Rangers would need to pay the fee, right? Obviously,
Yeah,
Lewis Ferguson would need to, he would need to have his heart set on coming to his boyhood club. Those would be the issues. I think Rangers would probably need to sell Nico Raskan as well to be able to afford that deal, who has received interest from Hull, as well as sides in Italy. So yeah, it seems that the interest around Yusuf Chermiti and Manny Fernandez is quieted down quite a bit. But it's a busy time at Rangers right now.
yeah, no, certainly, and I think just on Lewis Ferguson, I think that there is, as I said, I think there is certainly a possibility that he goes to Rangers this summer, but I think that option will be open sort of further down the line for him, and I think he must have some great offers on the table, especially after how he performed in the World Cup. And I don't know, I just feel like where he is at in his career, the age he's at, would be maybe a slight backwards step, and I think
I think I
that's not
think I think it
fair
would
to
be a
say.
backward step, but if Rangers manage to sign Lewis Ferguson, that's signing in the summer straight away.
Yeah, of course. That would be the signing that you would expect would be able to take Rangers over the line, and really give them the upper hand in winning the league title this season, because I think they've certainly started the stronger of the two Glasgow sides. They usually do this, Rangers. They're very quick and sharp with their business when the window starts. They've obviously got Derek McInnes, the manager, in the replacement for Danny Rowe very quickly. They've brought in some excellent talent, and Lauren Shankland and sort of Ben Godfrey looks like a positive signing. The goalkeeper looks like he'll be a good addition. Obviously, a lot of experience in the championship this season. But Rangers are the team that needs to close the gap on Celtic. They're the team that needs to really make a difference to their squad, because although they ran Celtic and Hearts close for large parts of the season, they did fall short in the end. And you would hope that with Derek McInnes, who did mount a title challenge right until the end with Hearts, with a slightly, no, I would say a lot better backing in terms of financially, and a stronger squad, that he will be able to get over the line for Rangers this season. Obviously, on the other hand, Celtic less active, would be fair to say.
Yeah,
They have made the obviously finally got the backroom staff to support Martin O'Neill over the line, and they've made the excellent signing, which looks like a really good signing. Excellent signing of Ross Grant from Hearts. Really promising set piece coach. But no,
it feels like you're overplaying this to cope with the fact you haven't signed any players.
possibly, but no, I think it is as something that Celtic have been crying out for a while, and you've seen the advantages it's gave to both Hearts and Rangers, especially last season. And I think he could be a real difference maker. We've seen set pieces become such a big part of football now, and I think that's certainly a positive addition to Celtic. But they've got the backroom staff in place now. They need to go out and recruit some players. And I know it's difficult when you've got sort of players with their futures in doubt at the club. Obviously, players at the World Cup also, but they need to sign players, because ultimately they've got a big Champions League qualifier windfall coming up. And if they fail to qualify again, it would be another enormous failure of the football club. And yeah, they got lucky ultimately. The Celtic hierarchy winning the league title last season, they got lucky with the job that Martin O'Neill produced. But they need to support him this season, and they need to look to really kick on, and yeah, perform on more than, well, they didn't perform on the league level either. They didn't perform. I know, credit to them, they got it over the line, but they didn't perform well in any real competition, despite the fact they could have easily won a treble. I don't know how that even happens, but yeah, they need to be a lot better this season, and I think they need to start getting players in now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They need to get their act in gear. The squad is lacking in quality in certain areas. It's threadbare in certain areas, and yeah, but just knowing Celtic, I think they'll somehow just do it again. I'm not. And I'm happy with Rangers business and all that, but I don't know if I'll be as confident this season. Um, so yeah, I just have a feeling that they'll probably just do it again.
It's got to come to an end at one point, though, Alex.
That's what I keep thinking, but it never does.
The
Uh,
incompetence can't last. Obviously, there was a season with Celtic were going for 10 in a row where it wasn't good enough, and Rangers did overcome the sort of the remarkable run, but also tied with fortune along the way. And I think it's got to come to an end. And the Rangers keep recruiting at the level they have done so far, and you would think that it's going to slow down with how long the transfer window's been open for and the amount of business they've done. But if they keep recruiting the same level of quality at the same rate they are doing, and Celtic continue to struggle to get bodies in the door that are not only just numbers but quality to that squad, then eventually Rangers will overcome Celtic. So I think Celtic, there is pressure on Celtic to bring players in, not only looking over their shoulder to Rangers, but the Celtic fans, as we know, aren't settling for just winning the league. They want to be ambitious on a European front as well, which they've failed to do, well, since I can remember. And this is another opportunity to try again under a manager who has more success than almost anyone when it comes to managing Celtic in Europe. So, yeah, I think it's an excellent opportunity that Celtic have got with retaining Martin O'Neill, getting the set piece coach in, but they need to actually do some business.
yeah, absolutely. But sorry, I was going to say something there and it just disappeared from my brain. Um, oh yeah, I was going to talk about Kilmarnock. I think I've had an excellent window. That's what I was going to do. Kilmarnock have been moving really really well. They've made some good signings. Callum Ferry, Roshan Mathern, coming from the Slovakian league. They obviously announced the double signing the other day of Mark O'Hara and Bailey Rice. Bailey Rice coming on loan after signing a contract extension with Rangers. So really, really good.
Excellent announcement video as well for Bailey
Yeah,
Rice.
who's Rice? But yeah, no, it was really, really good. And then some more terrific news. Joe Hugo signed a contract extension as well. So I sent a message to Laurie today. I'm smelling top six for Kilmarnock if they keep moving like this.
Yeah, quite possibly. And I don't think Neil McCann can. Obviously, his connections to Rangers help with some of the signings they've brought in.
So
There's no getting away from that.
See when you said Neil McCann can, I was thinking of him like dancing.
Uh, but it's going to be a real test now of Neil McCann's managerial credentials because last season it was a case of survival for Kilmarnock with what he had, but you cannot say he's not been heavily supported by that Kilmarnock board. I think at the time when McCann was appointed, the Ayrshire faithful were doubtful and not very happy with the appointment, it would be fair to say, but he's earned the respect and the trust of the support, and now obviously the club with the support he's getting to bring the players he
Would you
wants.
call them the Ayrshire faithful? Is that not a wee bit dicey?
Yeah, possibly. But
Killie,
okay, the
Killie
pride of Ayrshire,
faithful.
the pride of Ayrshire. Sorry, do they not call themselves the pride of Ayrshire? I'll go with that. Yeah, good
Yeah,
for
the pride
correcting
of
me there.
Ayrshire,
But
the only top flight team in Ayrshire. They say that quite a lot as well.
yeah. Sorry, Kilmarnock fans, or Ayr United fans for that matter. Um,
Yeah, Ayr
but yeah,
United
they've
fans,
obviously
you're the shame of Ayrshire.
don't say that.
Just kidding, just kidding.
But
Wait,
but no,
is there even any Ayr United fans, or do they exist?
yes, they do, Alex. Come on, be
I've never met
nice.
one.
I've met a couple, I'm sure. No, I definitely have met a couple. Obviously, going to university in the area, I've bumped into a few as well as some Kilmarnock fans. Laurie, of course. But yeah, as you said, I think there's going to be a lot of expectation on Kilmarnock because of the players they brought in, and it's a real test of what Neil McCann can do. He's obviously been very busy so far this summer already, whether that be bringing in players for Kilmarnock or arguing with Tom English on BBC Scotland, which was an excellent debate, and I really enjoyed that. And it was two people that obviously care about the national team getting really passionate about it, and that's what happens when you have a passion for something. You often argue about things.
Tom English, who's Irish, who works in Scotland.
I know, I know, I know. That's always a funny one. Um,
Yeah,
but
but
no,
yeah,
yeah, no, it
was
is
a
a weird one.
passionate debate. Was a passionate debate, but I think Neil McCann will be focusing more on Kilmarnock now, and yeah, they're looking good. As for the business of other clubs, Hearts have been busy as well. Obviously, they have their new manager in the door. Hibernian have made a couple of signings. Dundee United with a few as well. I think everyone in the league's been quite busy except for Celtic. Motherwell haven't signed anyone yet either, to my knowledge. Of course, they have their new manager as well, Alfred Johansson, coming from Rosenborg, who were in the relegation zone when he left. So take that with a pinch of salt. Yeah, it's so Motherwell with their new manager. St Mirren have signed a few players, but it's been pretty poor, in my opinion. The only one that looks decent is Samuel Ramos, who, like Roshan Mathern, has come from the Slovakian league. The other two sort of signings that I've seen have been Ryan Carr, who hasn't played a lot of first team men's football as a Scotland under 21 international. And then this is a stinking signing, Chris Mockery from Airdrie.
Stinking sign.
Stinking signing. Absolutely stinking.
That's quite harsh, no?
4 goals last season in the championship. He's a striker.
Yeah, but
He's a striker. Stinking. They're trying to stay up and they're signing a guy who was in the basement of the championship. Like, come on, I think St Mirren will go down. It's been poor. Also, reappointing Craig McLeish as well. I don't know what's going on over there. It's really, I think it's going to be a bad season for St Mirren fans.
but is Craig McLeish another Stephen Presley story where everyone writes him off and then he
No,
produces
no, not when he's
magic?
signing Chris Mockery. At least Stephen Presley signed guys that were kind of the level. Um,
Well, no, I think there was large debates at the time that they weren't of the level when he signed them.
yeah, but none of them were Chris Mockery.
You seem like you have a vendetta against him.
Yeah, I need a new one. John McCracken's gone to Bradford.
Uh, well, I think, yeah, I think every club has been almost every club's been active, as you said.
Oh,
And for
another
Hearts,
really good signing as well. St Johnstone signed Logan Chalmers.
oh, that is a good signing from Thistle, from the Jags. Obviously, narrowly missing out on
No, no,
promotion.
no. St Johnstone signed him from the Jags.
Yeah, no, I was saying
Oh right,
Logan
okay.
Chalmers
Sorry,
narrowly
sorry,
missed out.
sorry. The way you phrased it there made me think. Sorry.
No, I was no
I
sorry.
thought
I
I'd
was just
s-
trying to say
I
that.
thought I'd said Partick Thistle there, and I was like, "What? Am I going crazy?"
No, you said St Johnstone. You said St Johnstone. I was just saying that they got him from the Jags, and
Ah,
he
right.
obviously
Sorry.
narrowly missed out on promotion there. But um, he's got promotion in his own kind of terms. But I think for Hearts, they've
Just went.
obviously
Ah,
been
see ya. See you guys.
Hearts have obviously been busy. But apart from Calvin Miller, it's hard to really know anything about the signings they're bringing in because it's such a you could say
Sabri Gendouzi doesn't look that great. Um, Amadou
obviously his
Bassai,
data's very good.
eh?
Obviously his
Probably
data's very good.
Amadou Bassai and um, Renault coming from Ligue 2 in France is a bit. bit dodgy, but Clyde Braga did come from the Norwegian second division, so I don't think we can judge too much. Josh McPake is a known quantity, had a very good season with St Johnstone, obviously coming in on loan, coming in on pre-contract. And then two big centre halves, MJ Campson Kamara and Malachi Fagan Walcott. Double barrel last names for some Hearts. I think they put that into the Jamestown analytics. Double barrel last names. Just sign them up. But Malachi Fagan Walcott scored 8 goals for York last season as a centre half.
I think he's going to be dangerous on set pieces then. Is that what you're
Well,
telling me?
maybe not now.
Well, I think they'll get someone else in. They'll get someone else in. But obviously Calvin Miller as well. Going to Hearts, he's like you said with Josh McPake. He's the sort of another one of those known quantities which we know about. We know what you're going to get with him. Can he make the step up to Hearts? I think he can. I think he's been a really solid player for Falkirk and stepped up this season as they all have done in the Premiership. But no, it's certainly heating up. We're not too far away from Premier Sports Cup action, leagues, Premier Sports Cup group stage action. Sorry, now it's something to look forward to for the Scottish football fanatics.
Yeah, Scottish football fanatics are the fans of teams that aren't that good. Uh,
Whoa, you've been hating on the lower league clubs today.
yeah. Well, uh, I just had to get a bit of my hatred out, because Scotland have really annoyed me. But no, it'll be interesting to see how those games play out, and it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the transfer window will play out. Will Celtic actually sign anyone? Will Rangers continue to sign players? Will Hearts replace the outgoings? Oh, that's another rumour that I saw. Cam Devlin could be going to Rangers. Imagine the you and Cameron meltdown. But yeah, that'll do it for today's episode of the Dugout Podcast. Thank you all so very much for watching and listening. Let us know what you think of the Scotland managerial situation. Let us know what you think about your Premiership club and the business they've done. Let us know what you think about your club in general. If we haven't spoken about them, just give us a wee insight, because we try to keep up to date, but it's difficult to stay on top of the Premiership and the lower leagues as well. So let us know about your club in the comment section down below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you and goodbye.